Welcome, adventurers of the mortal realms, to a very, very big Age of Sigmar video, because we are going to be talking about 4th edition, both the setup of the scene, the lore, the cinematic that we got, and also about what the 4th edition actually means. So we have a community post that's already live on the Warhammer community website, but we also have an interview with the developers where I have copied down some information about what they talked about, including some actual details about 4th edition and how it might actually run. So we'll take a look at all of that and more in this video. So first off, let's talk about the 4th edition trailer, because it was really cool. We basically see this stormcast. Well, first of all, she's not even a stormcast. She is just a warrior, and she is fighting, and she dies, and she ascends. She's been saved, and then she gets reforged. And this is a blessing. She gets to live again and fight the enemies of Sigmar and the enemies of humanity and protect people. Of course, that is a blessing, but of course, we learned that Sigmar lied. And what that refers to is that immortality is actually a curse, because as the Stormcast are reforged over and over, they begin to deteriorate and they are going into a place where they've lost their humanity. They're becoming jaded, and we see that a bit in this trailer. So we also see a massive event called the Vermin Doom, where an entire nation of Skaven erupts from the ground in the Great Parch in Akshi, and that is where we're heading back to in this edition. That's going to be the battlefield, as well as in Gairan on the other side of the portal. And the Skaven, we're talking literally, they said billions of Skaven. This is a massive amount of them. They're fighting at their best. They're coming from shadows to be in the forefront of the edition and in the forefront of the actual story. And this is going to be a big Chaos is Back event, and they are center stage. Now, there's a new chamber opened by Sigmar, or that's what they said in the interview, but they also kind of mentioned that this new Stormcast, this new type of kind of jaded, worn down, Stormcast, they're going to be called the Ruination Chamber. So we'll see some models with that at some point to that effect. They're allegedly more powerful than the regular Stormcast. They're more ready and prepared to do things that the other Stormcasts aren't going to do. And that all sounds really cool. What unfortunately wasn't very cool is that we didn't get any model reveals at all, unless it comes out while I'm filming this. So right now we know there's Skaven. We know that there's Stormcast. They alluded to them being part of the reveal or the launch box. They mentioned that the launch box is going to have a lot of information on all armies, so that you can play the Spearhead mode. But the next thing that they talked about is going to be 4th edition. So let's talk about that. First, let's go over my notes from the live stream. So this is going to be a ground up rules rewrite. Biggest thing since 1st edition. They want the game to be easier to learn for people. They want it to be easy for people to get into, more interactive, more counterplay. They said that they will be rewriting the way that command points and abilities are used so that you can interact with people on their turns more often, which I would actually argue would go in the opposite direction of people learning how to play, but that's not a bad thing. I think it's really good to have interactivity. When I look at TCGs that I want to play, the ones that you cannot intervene at all on your opponent's turn are a full-on write-off for me. I don't want to play them for the most part, because I just love having that back and forth of being able to interact with each other. And right now the combat phase is the main place where we see those decisions happening, and then sometimes with command points and abilities. But this seems like it's going to be a good change. Okay, this is going to be an index edition. They are going to give basically on launch a brand new PDF for every single faction, because the actual core rules of the game are being rewritten, but also the war scrolls from every single faction are being completely rewritten. They're going to be put into one card, single-sided, every war scroll. They're going to do things that will put together certain rules. So for example, universal rules for champions, musicians, standard bearers, all those things will just be universal in the core rules. So if you know you have a champion in a unit, it's the same in everybody's faction. It doesn't change between the factions. And some of that was already going on in Age of Sigmar, but now it's going to be just universal. Now that's a very good change, in my opinion. Where you can get worried is if there's going to be homogenization, right? If you try to make everything the same and compatible and easy to go between, easy for people to learn, does that mean that you take away some of the diversity of different armies? And I'll be optimistic that that's not the direction that we're going, but that is something that we have to really keep, our eyes on. The other thing is going to be color-coded phases. So when you're in combat phase, it might be, let's say, red, and then all the abilities that can be used in combat phase will have red color codes, and it will be easier to match up where those things happen. So these digital war scrolls are going to be available for free on launch. The cards, they mentioned that cards will be available, I guess, for purchase. Meaning that the Cities of Sigmar cards I just got with my army box are going to be useless, as is my battletome, although it's got really cool lore and painting guides and pictures. The rules in there will no longer be applicable, which is kind of a bummer, but it is what it is. They're really stressing that this is going to be streamlined, but in a good way. The tactical depth will still be there. One of the biggest single things they mentioned was there's going to be a new combat range. So they are going to get rid of melee weapon ranges. So no more 1-inch range for swords and axes and 2-inch ranges for spears. There's just going to be a 3-inch combat range. And that means for objectives, that means for abilities and buffs and interacting with other units. And it means that if you're going to get into combat, that it's very simple to line up and get your attacks in. And this is a quote. This is a direct quote from the stream. It's to help the rules get out of the way. And what they were referring to is that you want to have this big battle cinematic. You set up a scene, and it's the things that you remember is, oh, we had that awesome siege battle. Remember you and me, David, blah, blah, blah. And you don't remember, well, hey, I spent, 5 minutes, surrounding with my units to try to get as many attacks in as possible because I have 1-inch ranges. No, instead it's like, I move my guys up, however they get in, if it's still piling in, whatever it is. I got them in, my whole 10 militia got to attack because they don't have to worry about a 1-inch range anymore. And simple, I got my attacks in, now I'm out, going to my next unit. It's faster. Okay, so we also have a new edition website that's kind of launched here. It gives a little bit of details about the trailer, and we know that is, that's coming. That is our new story update. So we're not going to go into this. So you can go and check this out if you are so interested, but we will talk about this new rule set and the kind of the information that they've given us. So rebuilding the core rules means that quite a lot has changed. Every faction in the new edition has had its entire set of war scrolls and army rules updated and reworked. As a result, each faction in the new edition will receive a free downloadable faction pack at launch, and each pack will contain all of the rules needed to play battle traits, sub-factions, enhancements, spell lores, war scrolls for every unit. And this also means that the battle tomes from the current edition will not be compatible with the new rules, and that every faction will receive a new battle tome over the next few years. We'll have more details on what the new war scrolls look like, and you can expect from every faction in the coming months. So this is a big old change. I'm really curious how that's going to work out for something like Cities of Sigmar that I am playing that just came out. I have to think that if they just designed these new Cities of Sigmar rules, or like the new Flesh Eater court rules, that, a lot of those are going to carry over, because they just established these themes. Like the orders are so cool. Your noble points for the Flesh Eater courts, whatever it is, they've put together these rule sets, and I think that they'll try to keep a lot of that intact so that you can still play that way in the 4th edition. But how much will change remains to be seen. It's super intriguing. I'm very curious about that. We also have information. Everybody knew this was coming, but the new format, Spearhead, is coming our way. So this is going to be a new way to play Warhammer Age of Sigmar. It is going to be, they say it plays in an hour or less using the contents of each faction, Spearhead and Vanguard boxes. So I wonder, they say Vanguard boxes, so I wonder if we're not getting Spearheads for every single faction yet, if it's currently being balanced on a Vanguard box. And you do see the imagery here for Vanguard boxes of, for example, the Lumineth Realm Lord Vanguard boxes there, which I'm actually really excited about because I have Lumineth Realm Lord Vanguard. I have the army box for Cities of Sigmar, but I'm actually only a Cavalier Marshal away from being able to play Spearhead with that faction as well, which would be really cool. So a game for 1 hour, that actually sounds right up my alley, and seems like a good way to learn. The thing that's going to be different with this too is that it will have rules specifically written for it. So there'll be new rules or war scrolls or buffs or things to make sure that it is balanced. When they talked about factions that are stronger than others, for example, if you look at Stormcast, well, what would make Stormcast fair to play against other factions? They actually mentioned that Stormcast's power will be delayed, that it might not come in until the 3rd round of the game, and that's when they can start exerting its their actual like power, you know, in comparison to, let's say, a horde army. So this is going to be something that takes advantage of the new modular core rules and to introduce a unique tactical spin. And so apparently it is one of the most popular games to play in lunch hours and after work around the office. Despite its small scale, Spearhead is a deep and robust game system with enough depth and twist to provide endless replayability, and there'll be more information on this in the future. So this is all going to be coming out in the summer. Just to finish compiling information about Spearhead, there was some stuff that was mentioned on stream, basically that there's going to be new mechanics that have never been seen before. They said that on stream. There will be card mechanics for tactics, that there's going to be a launch box. In the launch box, you're going to have information on Spearhead so that you could play it. And it has a gaming board with 2 sides. One side will be Gairan and one of them will be Akshi. It's all playable straight out of the box, and that there's just going to be a lot of depth for people to play, for example, in a Spearhead tournament, if people wanted to offer Spearhead tournaments at your local gaming store. Okay, that's going to be it from me. I hope you enjoyed the video and that it was useful for you. And if it was, then you can consider liking the video because you made it this far after all, and subscribing to the channel. Now, let me know, are you excited about the new edition? Are you bummed that we didn't see any model reveals? I know that there is a lot of trepidation after the 40K 10th edition that came out. I am a pretty optimistic person, so I am going to be optimistic until given a reason not to be. That's just how I am. I also have never played 40K, so I have no frame of reference from there. So yeah, because I'm mentioning this at the end of the video, I bet you that somebody is going to like mention it. They're going to watch the first minute and then comment below and be like, this was, 40K to this and it wasn't good. I don't know. I mean, I just don't know. So I am personally very excited. I plan to get the core book. I won't get the launch set because I'm not interested in either faction, but I will be getting the core book. I'll pre-order it, and I'm super excited for the amount of lore that's going to be in there. And then just to have the new rule set in hard copy, I think will be really cool too. Okay, so that's going to be it for me. Thank you so much for watching. See you all in the next one.